343 Industries has said before that the holy trinity behind the success of their franchise is Master Chief is the body of the trinity, Cortana represents the heart and or mind, and the player represents the soul. And it's these three things combined, humanity, heart and mind, and soul, that makes the gameplay so memorable. And while I don't deny that, if that is the case, it is also true that Dr. Halsey is the invisible thread behind the scenes that holds all of those elements together. This has sort of been the narrative that 343 Industries has put out, albeit subtly, throughout the Reclaimer Saga. And it's also why I believe Dr. Halsey will die at the end of Halo Infinite. Think of Halo 4. Even though 343 Industries had been working on the franchise for years prior to its launch, for most players, the release of Halo 4, when they first put it on the Xbox, was their first introduction to the storyline of 343 Industries. And in the beginning of the game, instead of exploring the history of the Human Covenant War, instead of going into Forerunner history or Master Chief and Cortana in detail, and instead decided to introduce players to the story of Master Chief and his humanity or lack thereof through the character of Dr. Catherine Elizabeth Halsey. The storyline of Dr. Halsey is pretty well known, the creator of the Spartan Ops. And as she is being interrogated, something becomes interestingly clear. Not only is she sort of the narrator of the story, her view of John is sort of the view that the players will have. She is the lens through which we are introduced to Master Chief. She takes a unique ownership over the Spartans, and it's made very clear to the players when she becomes sort of possessive about Master Chief when being interrogated. Even when she's no longer on screen throughout the rest of Halo 4, her presence in the narrative is undeniable. Think of when Cortana and Master Chief first fall onto Requiem. When they first land, they awake, and Cortana admits to Master Chief that she is undergoing rampancy. Without missing a beat, Master Chief just says,
Halsey.
Chief.
We need to find Halsey.
Chief, please.
She made you. She can fix you.
I won't recover from rampancy, Chief.
If we can just get back to Earth and find Halsey, she can fix this.
Though Master Chief is notably stoic and laconic, these sentences are very short and simple. He's obviously a bit emotional about it, and it actually shows a sort of innocence and almost childlike trust in Halsey. It's been hinted at more than once that Halsey, in a strange way, views the Spartans as her children. And Halsey as mother figure we'll discuss a little bit later in this video. But this trust in Halsey becomes sort of a catalyst in the storyline. Yes, the Didact and the Forerunners and the Prometheans are sort of the backdrop, but at the heart of the story, it's Chief just trying to get Cortana back to Earth, and by extension, back to Halsey. Halsey is still present in the narrative, even further in the game. The further that Cortana degrades, sometimes her name up on the HUD actually says Halsey and not Cortana. Sometimes she sounds more like Halsey. She quotes Halsey's memories. Even up until the very end, Cortana and Master Chief are holding out hope that they can still somehow get back to Halsey, somehow make her fix it, and give Cortana a chance, up until the very end of Halo 4. Continuing onward after the end of Halo 4, as we enter Halo 4 Spartan Ops, even before the players ever get a look of Halsey on screen, she's involved in the narrative. Because the UNSC Infinity is her brainchild. She helped construct it and come up with the plans to install Forerunner engines into this ship. Dr. Glassman even mentions it when he says, what did you expect when you get a war criminal to attach Forerunner engines onto a ship? Already Halsey's influencing the plot. Then she gets involved, she becomes a key player, she doesn't like how she's being treated by the UNSC and kept in the dark. She deals with Jul 'Mdama in trying to draw out information from him regarding the librarian. And then at one point, she even finds out that during the events of Halo 4, Master Chief was here on Requiem and on the Infinity, and she snaps, becomes angry, and gives Lasky an amazing slap. One of the best slaps I've seen in a video game. So she has agency in this storyline. What's really cool in Spartan Ops is that Halsey has gravity to her. The minute she steps onto the deck of the Infinity, every player's orbit is influenced by her involvement. Their personalities, their emotions, what they do is influenced by what Halsey is doing in a scene, and that's a sign of a good character. You don't want your characters to just be set dressing, but everyone is drawn into her orbit. She then gets involved with the plot and kidnapped by Jul 'Mdama at the end of the storyline, which directly leads into Halo 5. During the events of Halo 5, she apparently has been communicating with the UNSC Infinity, or at least trying to reach the UNSC, so that eventually she could get rescued. And she's known about Cortana being alive and involved with the domain for quite some time, given her dialogue. Throughout the story, she interacts with Osiris, and particularly Spartan Locke, urging him to save Master Chief, to bring him home, trying to warn Lasky about his emotional vulnerability regarding Cortana, and trying to influence the plotline. She is a key mover in this plot again. And what is the last beat of that game? Well, in the very end of Halo 5, we end with Halsey, this time reunited with Master Chief, just like we opened Halo 5 with Halsey. So we're noticing sort of this trend of bookending the Reclaimer Saga with important moments involving Halsey. So why do I think she's going to die in Halo Infinite? Well, there's a few reasons. One, Halsey has gotten more characterization than almost every other character in Halo. 343 Industries made note of the fact that though Bungie had done an amazing job of building this universe, not only were there plot holes in some of the books and media, but they had a tendency to kill off side characters. Think Johnson, Miranda Keyes, Captain Keyes, Guilty Spark, Noble Team. All of these characters are getting killed off, and it's limiting your universe and your ability to expand. Halsey, however, is not only in Fall of Reach, First Strike, the comics, the animated series. She's got her own journal. She's in Halo 4. She's in Halo 5. She's in Halo Reach. She is in so much of the story, and her involvement with the universe isn't done yet. Showtime's Halo series, which will be releasing next year, has cast the amazing Natasha McElhone to be Cortana and Dr. Halsey. So clearly she's still going to be involved in the universe. But I think that she's had a lot of exploration and characterization, and pretty much more than any other character, she could be killed off and it not feel like a cheap shot. It wouldn't feel like a waste of a good character. We've gotten a lot of good stuff out of this amazing written character. Second reason I could see the death of Dr. Halsey as being plausible is Dr. Halsey as a mother. Interestingly enough, though Dr. Halsey displays none of the prototypical maternal instincts and personality traits that one would associate with mothers, she is an interesting mother figure of the Halo universe. Yes, she's cold and calculating and clinical and harsh and sarcastic, but she's a mother, quite literally, to Miranda Keyes. Though she has a biological daughter here, Halsey, as soon as the baby is weaned and old enough to be away from her, practically speaking, like any good scientist, she then passes back the baby to her ex-lover, Captain Keyes, or Jacob Keyes, as he was at the time. Jacob Keyes takes good care of Miranda and raises her, and it's clear that they had a strong bond because Miranda follows in her father's footsteps. Even though Dr. Halsey was almost not at all involved with her daughter's life, it's clear there was some sort of attachment and a guilt that Dr. Halsey carried with her, though she was very silent about it. In her journal, there are sketches of Miranda covering some of the pages, and she reflects that Cortana reminds her of Miranda in a few points. And when Miranda dies, Dr. Halsey is moved to tears and weeps for the loss of her daughter. So she's failed her biological daughter. She also has a child in the sense of the Spartans. All of the Spartan children she has a certain affinity for, and she felt major guilt for what she did in the Spartan 2 project. Even though she helped with the picking of the children when they were 6 years old, very shortly after joining the project, she had immense guilt and regret and wanted to leave the project, but Oni basically urged her that if she were to leave the project, somebody who cared less about the children might get involved and be harsher and actually lead to higher casualties. So now that she'd made a mistake, she should do her best to try and take care of them. So Halsey did. She stayed involved in the project and took a certain ownership over the Spartan 2s. all of them, but particularly Master Chief, as we know that she had a special affinity and preference for. She even is so desperate to protect her Spartan 2s that she tries to kidnap them and try to keep them safe and away from harm's way in battle, obviously bringing her in conflict with the UNSC. But Halsey is trying to redeem herself through her children, particularly Master Chief. Last, Dr. Halsey is mother figure to Cortana. Strange as it may seem, and I don't think Dr. Halsey really wanted it that way. I think Dr. Halsey intentionally tried to keep emotional distance there between Cortana and herself. Perhaps because Cortana reminded her of Miranda Keyes, or reminded her of her younger self. She tried to keep a distance there, a clinicalness, which with a young, analytical AI is not too difficult. But especially as Cortana became increasingly distressed and increasingly human, she began to fall back more on viewing Halsey as her mother figure, and feeling betrayed and left behind and abandoned by her mother figure, this sort of resentment. Halsey was trying to avoid it, but it happened nonetheless. Cortana views herself in a strange way as her daughter. In mind, Dr. Halsey wants to save Master Chief from this fate of loneliness and despair, and also just, being vulnerable to Cortana. So she's going to do everything in her power to save him and to stop Cortana. I believe the best way that they could do this, or one of the ways that they could do this satisfyingly, is Dr. Halsey is going to sacrifice herself at the end of Halo Infinite. Many people on the internet have implied that Master Chief is going to die, and I think that people's instincts are correct in the sense of an end of an era, even though the saga isn't a trilogy. But I think that it's a misdirect. I don't think Master Chief is going to die. Given how much the fan base was energized at the idea of Chief coming back and being the hero in Infinite like he deserves to be, it would be a bold move and a really stupid move of 343 Industries to kill off their main protagonist. I think it's going to hint and imply that Master Chief is going to die, him or Cortana gets restored, and then she's going to try and kill herself to try and stop whatever it was that she had in motion. But somehow Dr. Halsey is actually going to get involved. Whether somehow her destruction through Forerunner technology provides the blueprints to protect Cortana, restore her back to mind. If you remember in Halo 4, Cortana says, "As far as I know, I'm the only AI generated from living tissue, a clone of Dr. Halsey to be precise. It is possible that replicating those conditions could recompile my neural net," or something to that effect. What if, for instance, Dr. Halsey gets inside some sort of Forerunner technology, it scans her brain, it kills her, but it has replicated those conditions that led to the creation of Cortana, and Cortana is saved. That is how I view a good end for Dr. Halsey. She has failed her daughter, she has failed Master Chief, she has failed Cortana in every way, and she wants to be redeemed for what she's done to all these children. And I think that her sacrifice would be one of the best ways that they could do it, and one of the most poignant. Do I want Halsey to die? Absolutely not. I love her character so much. Everything about her is so amazing. Without her in the Halo universe, we wouldn't have Spartan 2s, we wouldn't have Master Chief, we wouldn't have Cortana, we wouldn't have the Infinity, and we wouldn't have all that sass. So she's such an amazing part of the universe, but I really could see them bringing together a lot of the narrative themes that they've used in Halo 4 and Halo 5 in a satisfying way with the death of Dr. Halsey in Halo Infinite. And honestly, I think the more I go back and play Halo 4 and Halo 5, the more I'm struck by how much Dr. Halsey really seems to be the main character of the Reclaimer Saga. So obviously this is just a theory like any other. And honestly, I hesitated to make this video because we are only 1 month away from the digital event, and I know gameplay trailers are going to come out, and I know it's going to influence my thoughts on the new game. But I wanted to go ahead and share this since we were sort of in a drought of Halo Infinite content, and maybe to see what you guys think. And it's kind of fun to put it out right now, because if I am proven to be right when Halo Infinite comes out, I'll have bragging rights. And if not, oh well, it was fun to discuss the theory. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you next time.